What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. I know it's a little late, but I do want to discuss and cover the performance of Earl Spence Jr. and Kell Brook. You know, as we all know that Earl Spence did beat Kell Brook, you know, from a surrender from Kell Brook's, actually Kell Brook himself. This time decided to take a knee and decided not to continue. The fight was a very good fight. It was a surprising fight. You know, Kell Brook really surprised me in there in two different ways. Let me start with his boxing ability. He was quicker than Errol Spence Jr. One thing that tells me, it shows about Errol Spence, he has a good jab, but if someone's faster than him, especially with anticipation, because that's what Kell Brook was doing. He was beating him by anticipation. He was countering over his jab with his own jab, and he had a sneaky right hand that he would put up the pipe whenever Earl Spence would get too close, you know, and try to put his left foot inside Kell Brook's right, and Kell Brook would hit him with a nice right hand. Another thing about this fight, man, really intrigues me is that, you know, Earl Spence did what he had to do. He didn't do what he wanted to do. You know, he wasn't the overall best boxer in there. In fact, he was getting outboxed, you know, and if you put that together along with you're in Great Britain being outboxed by the current champion, you know, he needed that knockout. So everyone's, you know, praising Earl Spence Jr. Earl Spence Jr. is lucky that Kell Brook didn't quit. If Kell Brook never quit, that fight would have went a totally different way, and he would have lost by decision. He would have went back with no belt. He would have went behind it and went back into the shuffle with everyone else, still being a tough opponent and no one really wanting to fight him still and not needing to because he has no belt. You know, so this tells you a lot about him. Also, it tells me about Earl Spence. He does know how to press the action. He did start to work the body when Kell Brook started to slow down a little bit, but it was because of the eye that was swelling, you know, profusely. It started swelling about the 7th. I noticed it about the 7th round, you know, but I didn't really feel that Kell Brook was hurt that bad. If you look at the Golovkin fight, his right orbital bone was broken, right? And you're looking at it like, okay, he was taking those shots from Golovkin pretty well, and his corner stopped the fight. But in this particular fight, this is the other way that he surprised me. He took a knee and didn't want to continue. It doesn't add up. You know, one fight you're fine and you're wondering like, what the hell? Please knock me out. And this other fight, you compare it with Errol Spence, a smaller guy. Just, you know, he's a big puncher too. Errol Spence is a young, strong, big puncher. But you know, you quit. You know, so I don't really see the similarities. It's like you got two different guys. You know, because it was two different sides of his face. Now, I'm not in there taking those punches, so, you know, it would be easy for me to say that. But for me, in my opinion, it would come off like Kell Brook just took the easy road out. I mean, it's not like this was the 8th or 9th or even 10th round. This was the 11th round with 1 minute remaining. You know what I mean? He couldn't fight 3 rounds. You know what I'm saying? Because he could have had the decision. In fact, he was winning on the scorecards, you know, up until that fight, even with the knockdown, the current knockdown. And he did rock Earl Spence. That's why Earl Spence, you got to give your hat off to him again. He's not a boastful fighter. He did state that that Kell Brook was a strong, hard puncher. You know, so he gave him all the credit, you know, especially coming to his hometown and doing what he had to do. You know, but one thing I'll say about it, another thing I'll say, someone like Pacquiao, I'm not sure, because Pacquiao, you don't really know about an older fighter, you know, but Pacquiao still has the speed and the work rate, you know, and he does have power. Someone like Manny Pacquiao and Earl Spence, you know, you hear a lot of guys, a lot of fanboys, I call them, because, you know, they're, oh, Earl Spence, he's the next this, he's the next that. Dude, he's just fought Kell Brook, okay? You know, this isn't Keith Thurman. This isn't Sean Porter. This isn't Manny Pacquiao. You know, would he be favored to win? Yeah, somewhat. But a guy like Manny Pacquiao with the work rate and the speed and the power, the speed I think would bother Errol Spence, because the speed bothered him with Kell Brook. So that's one thing about Errol Spence that I know, that the speed was bothering him. You know what I mean? If he can't corner you and work the body and commit to those body punches and set up uppercuts, you know, with those body punches, he's in trouble. And you've seen that from rounds 1 through 6. So, you know, everyone's praising Errol Spence. Hey, I take nothing from the kid. He did a great performance. He did what he had to do at the end of the day. But make no mistake about it, he still needs to learn a lot more in that ring. You know, we've learned things about him. You know, I mean, was he exposed, like they said, how Golovkin was exposed with Kell Brook? No. It's just they're two different fighters. I mean, if you want to say it like that, I mean, we learned a lot from both fighters, both Golovkin and Errol Spence. They're both strong guys. They both come forward. You know, they both like to work the body, you know, in comparison. You know, I mean, Errol Spence has better fundamentals, I think, than Golovkin, but Golovkin is more persistent with his attack. Errol Spence works the body a little bit more, but both of those guys with a common opponent with Kell Brook was able to stop Kell Brook. Run surrendered. One time his corner surrendered him, and the other time he surrendered. You know, so that does say a lot about Errol Spence. Like, you know, he made this dude quit. You know, whereas Golovkin, they had to throw in the towel. So, but I think he still has a long way to go with only 22 fights. You know, because that speed was bothering him. So I think he has to learn how to cut off the ring more. You know, I think he was a little stunned by a good right hand that Kell Brook landed on him. And he, you know, if you notice, he was off balance a lot, but you get that a lot with a southpaw, an orthodox fighter. So, you know, only he could really answer that question if he was hurt or not, because I think that was in the 6th or 7th round where he almost went down from a punch from Kell Brook. So, you know, Kell Brook just didn't, you know, go in there and lay down, but I think he should have fought longer. I think he should have fought to the end, you know, because that was the claim that he was claiming he was. That was the type of persona that he gave the fans and in the Golovkin fight, that, hey, you know, knock me out to do it. You know, well, Errol Spence didn't have to knock you out. So that's kind of curious to me, you know what I'm saying? So I just think about those type of things. But anyway, that's me wrapping it up with Errol Spence Jr. and Kell Brook. Really stay tuned for another video. I will continue it where Errol Spence goes from here. So, you know, stay tuned. But you guys been Counterpunched. Please subscribe. Peace.